Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today I'm going to be talking about 5 thrillers that have been hyped on either Goodreads or YouTube, online, whatever, and I don't feel like they're quite worth the hype. I read them all within the last couple of years, most of them last year, but a couple I did read a couple of years ago. So I'm going to hop right into it. I'll link them all down below as well as my Goodreads if you want to be my friend. The first book I have to talk about is The Other Woman by Sandy Jones. I read this just a few months ago and I kept seeing it everywhere. It was blurbed by Sarah Pekkanen, who wrote co-author of The Wife Between Us. So I figured I would love it because I really like her writing. But unfortunately it was not what I expected. I expected a thriller and it was far from a thriller. It was about a woman who is getting married to this really successful man, and he has a great relationship with his mom, but his mom is pretty mean to this fiance and is trying to make her life hell, but is really nice to her in front of the son. So whenever the fiance tells her soon-to-be husband, hey, your mom's not nice to me, he never believes her and everyone thinks that she's the bad guy. And then there's a couple twists at the end, but it wasn't anything crazy, it wasn't thrilling, and it was kind of slow considering it was supposed to be suspenseful. It was not bad. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I was really disappointed, and I thought it definitely got way too much hype because there are far better even suspense novels out there than this one. And then the second one I have to talk about came out last year, and so I heard quite a few things because I love this author, and it's The Death of Mrs Westaway by Ruth Ware. Books and Lala loves this book. I know Nicole from the Girly Girl Bookworm loves this book. A lot of people love this book. And I do like Ruth Ware. I like The Woman in Cabin 10. I like In a Dark, Dark Wood. But The Death of Mrs. Westaway was a little slow for me. It was about a girl named Hal. She's about 21 years old. She's a tarot card reader on a pier, and she owes money to some people, and they are threatening her life, and if she doesn't get money soon, she's screwed. And she gets a letter in the mail that her grandmother, Mrs. Westaway, has passed away and she's come into some money, but she doesn't think this person is her grandmother and it's a mistake, but she really needs the money, so she goes to the house anyway and she wants the money and introduces herself to this family that she doesn't think is hers. And some weird things start happening at this house, and this family is really screwed up, and she realizes her mother and her actually have a connection to this family, and it is pretty sinister. So like I said, it was pretty good, just not what I expected, and I think it's a little overly hyped. Like, I think it's good, but it's not like, wow, this is the best mystery I've read all year. I wasn't expecting some fast-paced thriller, but for a slower burn mystery, it just like didn't really fit the bill for me, and I gave it 3.5 stars. And then another one is Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. I think this one was so hyped because Girl on the Train was extremely popular and it was turned into a movie. And so when this one came out, it was highly anticipated and was talked about all the time, and I still see it sold in stores and still see it talked about. But unfortunately, it was kind of a miss for me. I gave this one 3 stars. It was a decent like mystery. It was about a woman who died and she left her daughter behind, and so her sister comes and takes care of her daughter and tries to solve the mystery of her death, and it might be related to the death of some other women in a river, and it appeared to be like a accident or suicide, but the sister thinks it was a murder. And so crazy things start happening, and there's obviously some twists at the end. But it is told through the perspective of like 9 different people, so it was overall just super confusing, and I didn't think it needed to be this long. It was like pretty long. It was about 400 pages, and for this story it definitely did not need to be 400 pages, so definitely a letdown for me and not worth the hype. And then the second to last one is Unraveling Oliver by Liz Nugent. I've heard a lot of good things about this author, so I've read this as well as Lying in Wait, and I much preferred Lying in Wait. This one is a huge letdown. It's a very short book, and it wasn't very action-packed. It's one of those stories where you know the end the very first page. So within the first couple pages, you know the bad thing that Oliver does. And then the rest of the book is learning why he did it through his perspective and the perspective of others. And he's basically a psychopath, sociopath, and you learn basically why he is that way and what he has done to other people and wreaked havoc on other people's lives. And though it was an interesting case study on someone who has like really mentally unstable tendencies, I I didn't find it very thrilling or anything like that, but it was interesting, just not what I was expecting and not worth the hype that I felt like it got. So I gave this one 2.5 stars. And then the last book I have to talk about, I did enjoy. So it's not that I didn't enjoy it, it's just that I feel like it got a lot of attention. I still want to read more of his books, so it has nothing to do with me not liking his books or not liking this one. It's just I feel like it was a little bit overhyped. And that is Her Every Fear by Peter Swanson. And this one I just heard so many things about, and I picked it up on Book Outlet when I saw it on there, and I was really excited to read it. It's not super long, and I enjoyed it. Like I said, I gave it 3.5 stars. It was about a girl who needed to kind of get away from her life, so she switches apartments with her cousin that she's never met in the States, and she stays in his apartment, and then someone is killed in the apartment next to her, and creepy things start happening in the apartment building, and someone is kind of stalking someone else. She gets herself in some trouble, and then she's like, who is this cousin that I rented this apartment from, switched apartments with? And do I really know what I'm getting into? And it was an interesting story. There was just some letdowns for me, and I didn't find it as compelling as I wanted it to be. I still am interested in reading more by Peter Swanson, but I feel like this one was definitely overhyped. It wasn't as thrilling as I wanted it to be, and some of the things seemed a little far-fetched even for a thriller. So like I said, I gave it 3.5 stars. So those are 5 thrillers I just think were a little overhyped. Everyone kind of has their own taste, and I enjoy these books, just not like 5-star reads like I was expecting. I'll link them all down below. I'd love to hear if you've read any of these books and if you have the same opinion or a different opinion, and I will see you guys all in my next one. Bye.